Okay, so today I decided I wanted to try to make a gun belt on video for people to see how I do it. So to start with, you gotta have your leather. And I bought this piece of vegetable tan split. As you can see, the thing is absolutely huge. And if you were gonna put it over you could cover the entire seat of your sofa with that thing. So I already cut out a piece. This piece is this is roughly about eight and a half inches. It's going to vary a little because the top is just, the way the height came. The bottom is I use my straight edge, which is part of a drywall T-square with sandpaper glued to the back so it doesn't slip around on you. And I cut it off of the main piece with just a utility knife. So, made some notes here. So if you're going to make a tapered belt, it'd be this style, where it's, tapered, goes to the buckle, and the other end is tapered like that. For me, I'm about you want about 50 inches for your belt strap. Part of that is just, that's going to go around the buckle. If you're doing the Ranger overlap rig, it would be this style, where you have a separate piece that you put your buckle on, and a separate piece for your billet. For me, that's about 46 inches. I wear size 32 pants, but your gun belt's going to be bigger than your pants belt. So you want to keep that in mind anytime you're going to make a gun belt. So, let's see. Next thing we got to do is cut out our belt strap. Now, 2.5 inches is about what I like. Historically, they were anywhere from 2 to 5 inches. I can't imagine wearing a 5-inch belt, and I highly doubt I will ever find out because I don't plan on making one. This leather is $30 for, you get 18 to 24 square feet, and it's, like I said, rough on both sides. It's 4 to 8 ounce leather, which is, I'd say this stuff's closer to the 7 or 8 ounce. It's kind of hard to explain the way it's gauged or whatever, but it's slightly under 1/4 inch. So this is a wooden strap cutter. I need to adjust for this a little bit. Cut thinner leather with this the last time I used it. Okay. There's good videos from like Weaver, just put out some of how you adjust these, but you got your measurements, and you got this screw thing in the back that can make it wider or not. There's a blade in here, and then you just use the tool itself as your guide along your straight edge. I've not used this on vegetable tan a whole lot, but I'm hoping it's easier than using my straight edge, cutting it with the utility knife again, which it is. I'll be off camera for the end of it here. Okay, so I think probably gonna do a Ranger overlap with this one. So we're at 46 inches roughly. I think I'm gonna just do 47 just to make it easy. Already got a flat on one end, so I'm just gonna take a pencil and mark the other side. Okay. I'll take my straight edge. If I can move you guys so you can kind of see what I'm doing. glued, or actually just stuck sandpaper on the back of this. It was sandpaper for a disc, like belt sander. It's got that adhesive on it, so I just cut it into strips. Now, for the ends, you can take something like this and round them off. You know, mark it and round it. But what I kind of like to do sometimes is just take my knife and cut the corners. You can measure that and make it as even as you want, but I can eyeball it pretty good. In fact, the other side, you just fold it over. Then if you're wrong, at least you're consistent. So, there's your actual belt strap. Okay. Now, take the side again. This is the part of the hide that's not that great for a lot of stuff, but I'm going to use it for the where you attach your belt buckle and where you put your, you actually attach the buckle to the belt, and then where you you know, the billet, where the holes in it would be where you'd attach the buckle into the buckle, I should say. Basically, you score it and finish it with your, you know, without your straight edge. At least that's what works for me. Now, I'm going to figure out how long we're going to want these things. So, first thing you should do is, well, really the first thing you should do is cut your straps. So, to do that, let me grab a buckle. I'm going to use a cart buckle from Weaver. You can use any kind of buckle you want, but I like the looks of these. I like the looks of a clip cornered buckle too. Get that out of the way. So we will measure this, which we're at the right side here. We're at 1.5. It's a little slightly over 1.5, so we'll set our strap cutter at 1.5. Really, I could have gone a little thinner with that piece too. So now we got to figure out how long we want it to be on the actual belt. Now what I've done, you put it, I guess you can't see that where you're at, but put it around my waist and figure out where you're going to want it, and then just kind of eyeball it. So you want it even at the end, sitting about like that. You gotta allow room for. So what I did was I put it around my waist to where I would want it to sit, and I evened up this end with the end of your belt, and then kind of left a little mark with my thumb. That's about how long I'm gonna want it. I'm gonna cut it. See how long this is. Where my thumb was. That's 11 inches. So I'm going to cut it at about 13. Because you can trim this up as you need to. It's better to be too long than too short. Make a little mark. to use this side. It's about the same length anyway. Seems a little bit thicker. I was cutting it off of the least desirable piece of that hunk of leather. But it'll work just fine for billet. Okay. The other part would be called a belt keeper. That's what I was trying to think of earlier. So that, I'm going to say about right there. That's where I'm going to want that. Folded that over on itself and trim the corners. A little uneven. I need to straighten it just a little. Okay. Now do one end. We'll just use that piece we just cut as a guide. Get all these pieces out of here because they'll drive you nuts if you don't. Okay, so that's going to be our belt keeper. So we're going to want to mark holes. Spider coming down in my table. Mark our holes for where we would want, and decide how I'm going to attach this. Well, let's keep it simple and just use Chicago screws, since I'm doing this more for how-to reasons than anything. So I'm going to mark it there, and we'll want another one there. So there, about a 1/2 inch in from the end right there, and about 2.5 inches to the second hole. And I pushed hard enough to get through both, so when I do the second part of this video, I'll punch those holes and stuff. When I get the main belt done, then we will move on to bullet loops. So I'm going to barely cut the corners off of the end of this. So I'll probably stitch this on a little bit. So I don't want that to be too tapered like the rest of this. And I'm going to go ahead and mark. This is just a stitch groover that came in a kit that I got. I'm going to come up. Well, yeah, you can see that really good. So that's where the stitching will be to stitch it on. What I'm also going to do is put a Chicago screw right in the center here. I'll probably just eyeball that and make a mark. You can make patterns for these and stuff, but for me, I like to just kind of make it up as I go, get an idea in my head and go with it, which is what I'm doing now. May not be as professional, but that's how I do it. And I'm here to kind of show you guys what I do. So I'm going to take my ruler here. I'm going to come in about 1 inch. Let's see, there's that buckle. Okay, so I'm going to come in about 1 1/4 inches from where I would put that, 1 3/4, excuse me, from where I put that Chicago screw. Make a mark, and from there I'm going to make a mark every inch. I'm going to do 7 of them, which puts me out to right there. So I've got a pretty good tail, the end of your billet. So what we just did was the main part here, and we made this part, which is going to be a little bit different style than this. And then we made this part, which I'll attach the same way. This belt is also made out of splits, but it's a lot thinner stuff. I think it was $20 for 50 square feet. If you buy the vegetable tan split bundle from Weaver or Springfield, and then get the heavy split, that's all you need for your belt. For a holster, you're going to want something with top grain, something that something more like this kind of leather that's, you know, smooth and not rough on both sides. But for a belt, this is kind of what you need. So I think that's it for this video. I don't know how many parts there's going to be to this, but I'm going to slowly work on this thing in my spare time. I got a full-time job and 2 kids and other things going on, but as I get them done, then I don't know if I'll post them as I do them or wait till I have them all done and then post them all, but I'll get it all out there for you eventually if anybody's wondering start to finish. So that's going to be it for this one. Thanks for watching.